Hey. Now, so did you hang out here today, or did you go back and forth? I wonder. Because, I mean, it's not that far. But, so.
Somebody had promised them lunch, 2 hot dogs each. I sit on a sheet for 2 hours.
I heard Uto was
How's Roger?
I know.
Yeah, you like that AC?
Where are you working town? Same thing in the office.
Yeah. So I asked Tom today, and he said he didn't see any reason about this up to me. So I'm gonna have a resolution that we no longer vote on this as it's called permits.
I envision this probably going somewhere. Okay.
This is one issue we don't know damn thing about.
You know.
That means you don't have to say that we are recording, so there's easy to help people understand. It's just one less thing on the agenda to read. Well, we get the partner. We don't have any committee. Well, how are you doing on the?
I would do anything. But you know, we all know what some of the reviews are. What's going to cost millions. And
I'm going to have to call you to do a report tonight. Tom sent me a new revised MOU.
Yeah.
I've got to change the wording. So it's just a specific MOU for what you said. In case of emergency, come down the field, we had that meeting, bring them all there, we reunite them with notifications, and that's the end of the story.
I know. Dave Allen and I are friends, and he's had me on that show more than I wanted to be on that show. Yeah, at the Metro News Midday. Yeah. I like Dave a lot, and I like Amanda. I love Tommy, but I like this new show. I mean, I'm fine with the new show. I mean, I like TJ, Dave. I mean, they're so. No, he does some commentary, some I think with WVU. That's going to be interesting because now Metro News is back now re-signed with WVU. So now with Metro News Station. So they used to do this 3 hours before the game and then 3 hours after the game. So we'll see.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey Tom. Hey. So we'll see what they do now.
Hey Tom.
And probably go back to what it was like in the 90s and stuff. I mean, you know, but. So like 101.3 The Bear that's here will carry WVU. It's part of the West Virginia Radio Corporation. All the West Virginia Radio Corporation stations are now back to cover. Oh, okay. Sure.
What hurt? Oh, there's where it got fixed.
Well, sure. Actually, we have 6 here tonight. One of our council members, unfortunately, can't be here, so you're good to go. Okay.
That's good. Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Yeah. I wish.
Where would you like said?
You getting a picture now?
That was the request.
Friend Park, guys.
Yeah, I'm water.
You short? All right, short busy. I've been here
If
with
you
busy,
didn't get a
Jack.
picture, you didn't work, right?
Look busy. Yeah, look busy. I'm blocked anyway. So.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. All right, I don't have to look busy anymore, though.
Hey, good. How are you?
Okay.
How are you? Good.
I am well.
All right, let's go ahead and call our meeting to order. We have a lot to get to this evening and a full house watching us do it. So we'll call our August 20th meeting to order. We'll note that this is, tomorrow marks 1 month since we've had our big event here, and what a month it has been. So to begin tonight, I want to thank sincerely all of our city crews who have worked tirelessly on this recovery effort since the flood took place. Thank our office staff in here who have done a phenomenal job at answering questions and helping people navigate what's been going on. I want to thank members of council, especially Randy Sanders, who's been doing a great job in keeping everybody informed through press releases. I want to thank our friends at the Upshur County Commission. They have been nothing short of phenomenal partners with this whole ordeal. I want to thank the Upshur County School System for opening their doors, and I also want to thank West Virginia Wesleyan College for essentially turning over the campus to us to use for the donation center. I want to thank Cadence Ringer and the Upshur County CVB board who turned her over to Randy and to the OEM director to help with answering questions and to keep information coordinated. I want to thank Steve Wyckoff with the OEM. This was truly the largest team effort I think any of us could ever imagine, and for not having any communication opportunities on Wednesday because of the down internet and down cell phone towers, I think we pulled things together the best we possibly could. So thanks to everybody who was a part of helping our community to recover, and our work is certainly not done. We know we have a lot to do, and we will get to that this evening. As you'll note on our agenda, we have a special flood event agenda with several items underneath of it to get to. As we enter our moment of silent reflection tonight, I would ask that you keep Councilman Scott Randall in your prayers and his family as his father deals with a serious illness in CAMC in Charleston. And I would also ask that you keep Ethan Croston, our Public Works Director, his wife Ashton, and their baby Callum in your prayers as well as we enter our moment of silent reflection to begin our meeting. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First up this evening, I'd ask for you to consider approving some meeting minutes over the past month or so. We have regular meeting minutes on 7/16, special meeting on 7/30, and then also a special meeting on 8/13. If there are no additions or corrections to those meeting minutes, I'd ask for you to approve those as presented, please.
So moved.
Motion by Jack, second by Rob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, that motion carries. Now we begin, as I just noted, we'll begin our special agenda, the July 21st, 2026 flood event. And I'd like to begin with, we've got an official representative from FEMA here with us this evening, Manuel Portela. Good evening, sir. Yes, if you please. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Manuel Portela, and I represent FEMA, and I'm as an intergovernmental affairs specialist. So the objective for me to be here tonight is to open the door. The main objective is to open the door for elected officials to know that I'm here as a representative of FEMA. I'm the one that works on the field. So I'm going to give my, as part of this introduction, give my contact information. If you have any issues, any concerns, I'm available because I'm the one on the field. So that's the main objective. So we were invited here, FEMA was invited here by the state. So the state is the authority. We follow what the state lead us. So the state is the authority. We are just supporting the state on the recovery efforts. So the incident period of the is from the 20th to the 22nd, but the declaration was done on October the 3rd. So I'm going to give like a short introduction of the FEMA programs to give some coherence on how FEMA programs works. So there is 3 main FEMA programs: individual assistance, public assistance, and mitigation. And mitigation interlocks between individual assistance and public assistance. At this stage of the disaster, of the declaration, we have individual assistance. We are waiting for the declaration under the public assistance program. The public assistance program has to do with everything that is related to government infrastructure. So we are waiting anxiously for that approval. So the signing from the governor is already done. So we are waiting for the president to approve it. And when it's approved, we have active the public assistance program. For each individual assistance program and the individual assistance program, there is a sequence of delivery. It's like a cascade of possibilities for the recovery. For the individual, the first thing that they have to do is be talking to their insurance, if they have insurance, and to get registered. So once they're registered, an inspector goes to their home and see the damages, and if they are eligible for the assistance, they will receive the assistance right away to their pocket. The assistance could be on repair or replace of your home, rental assistance, or covered for other needs. So that means that repair or replace it is obvious. The rental assistance, which is the most important, is for those individuals that are displaced. They can get assistance wherever they're staying. So once they call the 1-800 number or get registered, there's 4 ways to get registered. Either by calling the 1-800 number, going to the Disaster Recovery Center that is on the corner, or getting to disasterassistance.gov website on the computer. So the rental assistance program, for those individuals, this is important that for those individuals that are displaced, they will put money right away on their pocket to pay for the first 2 months where they are staying. If they're with family members, we encourage them to find a formal place to stay until they repair their home or they receive the adequate assistance to go back to their living place. So the first 2 months is money that they put on the pocket for the rental assistance. Following the 2 months, it turns to be like a recertification process. So the survivors will receive, they will have to submit receipts to FEMA. So it turns to be a reimbursement process. So for those individuals that are staying with family members, we encourage them to find a formal place to stay, because that way they could, at the second month, they can bring the receipts or the contract in the place that are staying, because the family members are not going to do a receipt because they're not charging them until they can go back to their homes. So that's the main part of the program that I can talk here tonight under the individual assistance program for those that are displaced. Because at this stage, what we need is to bring in the assistance for the survivors. So that's why the public assistance program has taken a little bit more time, because what we need now is the emergency protective measures for those individuals that suffer damages. So the public assistance program, it has a sequence of delivery as well. But it starts through the state, through the emergency manager of the state. So the state will call the jurisdictions to have what they call an applicant's briefing. So all the jurisdictions that are interested to apply for the public assistance program, they will go to that applicant's briefing and they will fill out a request for public assistance, the RPA. Once the government, the state collects all that information, they will bring it into FEMA. So that's when FEMA goes out to the field to contact all these jurisdictions that submitted their RPAs. So it goes to the field with a project manager. So the project manager will go to the field or make phone calls, exploratory calls to all the jurisdictions that submitted the RPAs. So what is important here to know is that the public assistance program starts with the state calling the jurisdictions, and the individual assistance program is the survivors going to get registered either by the four ways that I explained, the calling the 1-800 number, getting into the disaster recovery center, or the disasterassistant.gov. Mitigation, which is the third program, interlocks between individual assistance and public assistance. There's a mitigation under the public assistance program under section 40406, and there's mitigation for individual assistance, but the mitigation for the individual assistance, for example, if the city codes will change and the survival will be on the floodplain, and this codes enforce that they have to elevate. So then there's mitigation for, could be mitigation under the public individual assistance program. But under the form of the hazard and mitigation program that is going to, which is another mitigation program that the state is going to administer. But that has to be in place by the state. So the state is the one that is going to administer those programs. So I'm going to give my contact information. So I'm available. You can send me an email if you have any questions, any concerns. If I don't have the answers, I'll go inside of FEMA and bring the subject matter expert to support you with any questions that you have.
Thank you, sir.
You ready?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the disaster recovery center is open daily from, I believe, 7 a.m. to
To 6.
yeah, to 6 p.m. and
Yes.
that's 6 days a week. That's Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
So we encourage everyone that's had difficulty with the flooding to go there.
All right. At the Upshur County Development Authority office on Main Street.
How long were you going to be there? How long will you be there?
We're going to be there as long as needed.
Okay.
If we have survivors coming in, we're still going to be there. The registration is for 60 days.
Okay.
So from the day of the declaration, which is it was on the 3rd. So we have 60 days for the survivors to do a registration.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Up next is our Fire Chief, J.B. Kimball, with an after-action review of emergency incidents during the flood, and also want to make sure we thank Buckhannon Fire Department, Buckhannon Police Department, Upshur County Sheriff's Department, and all of our regional fire departments that came. We had them as far away as Preston and Marion County here helping us the night of the flood for rescue. So big regional response.
Big. I'm going to read this off. It definitely will not, it'll give you somewhat of a picture of the incident that happened involving all the fire departments and rescue teams, but it's one of those things you had to be there. I've been with the fire department 36 years, and looking back at high water marks on the flood reports, 9 out of the 10 highest water levels in Buckhannon I have been in the fire department. I've been part of those floods. And this one was just a totally different animal. Typically a flood is predictable. This flood was just not predictable until later on after the flash flood came through. So bear with me, this is a little bit long. Typically an after-action review is about an incident, one incident, which creates a CAD and a timeline and stuff like this. This incident was over a 23-hour period, which was the first 23 hours of the flood. And we determined that was the time when our call volume and the emergencies started slowing down. So that was the prime time to say, okay, the first operational period was 23 hours. It was on July 21st. Earlier in the day, the Buckhannon Fire Department received its first water rescue call at actually 2:53 in the afternoon down on Stone Cold Road. We'd received just over an inch of rain. Car got in the water down below Hillbilly Grill, and we went down, extracted the people in the vehicles, and came back to station. You know, we were thinking, we're supposed to get 4 or 5 inches of rain. This is what it was. It's over with. Maybe we can settle down. Later in the evening, at around 6 o'clock, 37 minutes, we got just over 4.5 inches of rain. I'll never forget the first call we received was on Stony Run Road. And when I drove up through Tennerton, there was water everywhere. Got to almost the intersection of Stony Run and Route 20, and it looked like a major river. It looked like the new river floating there. There was a building floating. There was a car floating with a lady in it. So I arrived on scene in my city vehicle and was sitting on dry pavement. Within 5 minutes, water was coming in my truck. I had to back up to the north entrance of Tractor Supply to get out of it. That's how quick. So at that point in time, the calls started coming in. They were all specifically in the Stony Run area at that point in time. Our engine, we had crews on both ends. We had to access with swift water suits. The water was, you couldn't, we tried to get the engine through it. Of course, the engine can only go through so much water. And I'll get into totals after a bit at how many people were extracted. The first Stony Run Road, the next 23 hours were recorded as a single operational period. CAD documentation was difficult. We lost communications. Cell phone tires went down. I had spoken to the mayor from the first call. I didn't know he was in Pennsylvania, but he was, and he was on his way immediately. The next call I received was from Jimmy Suttle, the chief of the Weston Fire Department, wanting to know if I could send some help to Weston. And him and I both kind of, I was like, no, I can't. And he goes, I understand. Bottom of Buckhannon Mountain was devastated. People were in their cars there. We were overwhelmed right off the bat. So, getting into mutual aid and swift water teams, the Buckhannon Fire Department had 15 members of its department on this incident the first 23 hours. Elkins Fire Department from Randolph County had 4 members. Leading Creek Volunteer Fire Department had 4 members. Whitmer Volunteer Fire Department had 4 members. Tigers Valley from Randolph County had 5. Beelington from Barber County had 11. Junior Volunteer Fire Department had 6. Farmington Volunteer Fire Department had 4. They're from Marion County. Fairmont, the City of Fairmont Fire Department sent their swift water rescue team with 10 members. And Bridgeport was headed this way down 79 and couldn't get past Weston. So they yelled on the radio. They stayed and assisted Lewis County with their problems. And then we had 2 members of the West Virginia Department of Natural Resources. So we had a total swift water and support personnel from all those departments of 70 members from 11 agencies. Now, that didn't happen in 5 minutes. That happened over a pretty good period of time, over an hour. So we also had assistance from the Elmore Volunteer Fire Department, the Washington District Volunteer Fire Department, Warren District Volunteer Fire Department, and Banks District. Banks tried to come to Buckhannon, but once they got to Adrian, there was no access for them to get here. So, moving into incidents. Total incidents by type during the operational period. We responded to 10 submerged, this is in the 23-hour period, 10 submerged vehicles and 16 people were extracted from those vehicles. We went to 17 rescues from residential settings. 31 people were removed from their houses. And I'm talking, I never dreamed I'd see this in my career, but a boat pull up to a house and step off on a roof and take people out of the attic in Buckhannon, West Virginia. never. I've seen it, you know, everybody's seen flooding everywhere else, but never dreamed it would happen here. But that happened twice. So we had one technical rescue. That was on Little Sand Run Road. God bless. There was 3 young people in the water. It was a very difficult time. 7-year-old little girl was rescued. So kudos to that crew that from Buckhannon and Belington and helped with that situation, or we would be having a whole different talk right now. 47 individuals were evacuated from North Buckhannon by boat. We went house to house. So as the flash flood kind of diminished, the river came up and dumped over into North Buckhannon. We went house to house, evacuated those people, and got them access to shelters. We assisted in the search for 2 missing people who were found later on. We had to respond to 3 welfare checks, 1 main water break, and 1 power line down. So a total of 95 individuals were removed from high water during the initial operation period. Now, over the next day, we probably took another 40 people out, and that'd be all separate incidents because we were back at station and then responded again back at station. This was, we were completely out. Hot wash. So as you all know, and I've spoke about hot wash, a week later, the whole department got together. We go over a hot wash, which we sit and talk about what went right, what went wrong, how did our training work, what do we need to look at. Some of those notes came out of the hot wash. Key observations were insufficient in meeting staffing at the onset of the event. We had 3 people on a fire engine, and we had 10 cars in Stony Run with people stuck in it. Entire emergency response system was overwhelmed. I want you to think at some point in time the communications went down at Upshur County. They flipped a switch. You know where your 911 calls go then? Lewis County. And imagine what that entails. So they're already being bombed, and now we're bombing again. So these are things that we need to look at in the future. The need for additional swiftwater trained personnel countywide, other than Buckhannon, and 1 member who's a contributing member, contributing member from Station 2, which is Thomasville. That are the only swiftwater trained people in Upshur County. There's nobody else in Upshur County. So no other department has, you know, the equipment, the boats, the training, and theoretically, if you send somebody into that type of atmosphere and something happens, if I would ask them to do it without the training that's needed, we're responsible for that. So that's a rough thing to do. So I'll get to that here in a minute. The need for additional equipment, additional raft, PFDs, which are personal flotation devices, for all members and throw bags. I was in a situation sitting at Tractor Supply. I didn't have a life vest and I didn't have a throw bag, but I had a car floating in the water and I couldn't get to it. So that's what hot washes do. It shows our strengths and our weaknesses. And if you can't review your weaknesses, then you got problems as an organization. So the importance of continued collaboration with assisting agencies, potential for a regional response team. And I'll get to that here in a bit. There was a lot of, I had the captain and lieutenant from the Department of Natural Resources, which have the most resources available for training anywhere in the state of West Virginia. So we had some really good discussions. We've had discussions with other swiftwater teams, Marion counties, the Belingtons. How can we create a team so when we come, you know what to expect from us? And if we ask for you again, we know what to expect from you. So communication overload. Anytime the communication system gets overloaded, when you try to talk on the radio and it goes blunk, 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 and you can't get through, it's a serious problem. Because the majority of the members of Buckhannon Fire Department, the only time they use that radio is in dire, when they have to. I've always said give everybody a radio, but don't give them a mic because they don't need to talk. So, the communication overload also, at that point in time, Upshur County 911 only had 2 dispatchers on duty. That's something, during a situation like that, 2's not enough. Typically, I think their staffing is 3, and in that situation, we can plan for hurricanes, but we got to look at staffing all the way around the board for all agencies. Mutual aid agencies working effectively together. We're going to start actually next Tuesday. I'm having a meeting with some local chiefs, Elkins, Weston, some others, to start planning some swiftwater training together, like down at Audra or up at Valley Falls in Marion County. So that's how we create the better to better our organizations together. So you put faces with names, capabilities, it all works out. The need for clear ID markings. I walk up on a team, I don't know if they're Swiftwater awareness, I don't know if they're Swiftwater ops, and I don't know if they're Swiftwater technicians. And there's different levels that allow you to do different things. So that identification is very important to somebody that's in charge of an operation. So it's no different than me going to a fire and you have a junior fireman over here that has no signification on it that says he's a junior fireman, and I send him in a house fire. That's not good thing to do. Don't do that. So these items represent the primary themes discussed. Continued evaluations, procedural adjustments will occur as collaboration with partner agencies move forward. In the days following the initial flooding, the BFD continued to respond to flood-related incidents, including multiple search details, assistance with recovery operations in the Stoneco area. Gas leaks, we had probably 100 gas leaks. So the water did a lot of damage to infrastructure. So water system issues and routine are normal day-to-day calls. The Buckhannon Fire Department extends a sincere gratitude to all who responded, from those present on the onset of the flooding to the agencies that arrived later and allowed our members to rest. Elkins and Maysville from Grant County sent members over here so we could rest. And this young man right here for the first 41 hours was with me, and Randy came in, Rob came in with some Zools. I learned, I'd always heard about command fault. At the 41-hour mark, I couldn't make a decision. I was done. I had to go lay down and go to sleep. But we had people that were working steady for 24 to 30 hours, just constant. To respond to the present onset of the flood, agencies arrived later and allowed our members to rest. Your dedication and willingness to serve made an immeasurable difference during one of the most challenging events our community has faced. We hope to return the favor in your time of need. God bless each and every one of those agencies and people. So since then, since this has been written, we created a 4-member committee at the Buckhannon Fire Department to establish 3-level training requirements: awareness, ops, and technician level, which we already have some that are there. Who wants to move on? Who wants to go from ops to technician? Who wants to become a boating expert? All kinds of stuff like that. So there's all kinds of opportunity. Along with they will also update the BFD response to water rescue policies. They'll establish communication lines with other agencies in the region to establish group training and equipment purchases. Hey, if I need 10 life vests, you need 10, maybe 20, we can get them cheaper, stuff like that. And we're working with the Office of Emergency Management to establish a resource book for this type of incident. There's where OEM can be really effective. When I called Steve on the radio, Steve Wyckoff from the Office of Emergency Management and said, hey, I need help. And he put out a statewide, he called the state office of the emergency management, which then they put out a thing, hey, Buckhannon needs help. If my cell phone would have worked, 2 days later, I had messages from Charleston, South Charleston, Dunbar, and Wheeling Fire Department. They were coming, but they couldn't get a hold of them. They had no way they couldn't communicate with us. Mm-hmm. So our phones were down, our radios were down, so they just stood by. But 2 days later, when my phone came back up, I had messages from all these departments. The biggest factor in these other departments, some of these departments came and they had Swiftwater training. Some of them came just to support the other agencies. And so we're really wanting to create what we call a catalog. And you just flip Swiftwater. Here's the departments that have the training and the equipment and the people we work with. So we're going to be working with the Office of Emergency Management and other counties to collaborate together and create that system. So I will say this, I've been here a long time and have seen a lot of major fires, a lot of major car wrecks, but had never been part of a mass undertaking like this. It's huge. And it was overwhelming. There's no doubt about it. So, questions?
Mention the event we had at the fire department after the fact when we invited Weston over and 911 directors and mention that.
So, as you all know, we've all been a vital part of our mental wellness program for first responders. And we have what we call the West Virginia Peer Support Group, which is a regional concept, Lewis, Upshur, and Randolph County. And we've created peer support and life coaching and clinician help for all first responders in need. So Jen Randall Ray from West Virginia Wesleyan and Chris Schimmel and I got together, and we wanted to do a wellness check-in. And about a week later, we had it down at the fire station. We had 44 people come. And there was a lot of people, and first came in, a lot of people don't know what to expect, but we broke off in groups based on stress level then and stress level now. You know, how stressful was the incident for you when it went out, and how stressed are you now? So we broke off into like 6 groups, and it was pretty quiet for a little bit. And in my group, we were sitting there, and of course I went through the coaching certification. I've learned how to listen to people and see how they're reacting. And before you know it, the whole room was full of laughter. 20 minutes later, everybody's just having, and that released a lot of pressure off people. And it also pinpoints the need for future talks with maybe an individual or stuff like that. And that's where we're at now. But the following week, we followed that up in Lewis County and did the same thing over a dinner over at the plantation, and had 29 people. And it was really great. The group I got to speak with was the mayor, the police chief's wife, 2 city councilmen, and the city manager. So it was just like sitting here, how did you all feel? And you know what their biggest thing that's keeping them from releasing right now? And Randy got the call from Jen. They looked at me and said, every day when we come to work, the mud. Every day we go home and we kind of get refreshed and we come back in the mud. Every one of them. And I could see that. I mean, Weston got that today. But the mud was the key thing on all those individuals' minds. And each group we had several sheriff's department guys, some state police guys, fire department guys. But each one of them had a different mindset of what still bugged them. Some of them was firemen who almost drowned. How we ever, the 2 agencies, Weston and us, made it through this incident without losing somebody. Don't know. Questions?
Well, I can say as well that, as Robbie mentioned, I spent most of my time up at the Office of Emergency Management with Steve Wyckoff, and I teamed up with Commissioner Nolte. The mayor teamed up with Commissioner Penning, and we both kind of worked different parts of the event itself. But I know that there's a real effort to continue building on what we learned here and review the after action report you submitted. Chief Gregory submitting one, I think, soon that Mr. Wyckoff's going to review, and he himself will have a hot wash at some point. But the community itself needs to continue this collaboration and work together. We're stronger together, obviously, between the city, the county, and the Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. And, we can learn a lot, but we have to do something with that knowledge now. We have to go forward and act on it and make whatever corrections we can, make whatever improvements we can. We can't do everything overnight, but, we can make some improvements. We've got to prepare for the next time.
So also to follow up a little bit, September 13th, we just started the process of offering a base level swift water, or a water class and a road class, because they go together. And this is just the basic class. So what we did to encourage outlying departments to participate, we're paying for it. There's no cost. All they have to do is show up. So anybody in Upshur County that's in emergency services that wants to start the process, you may not want to go any further. I'm not a water person. For me, I mean, if somebody's life depended on it, I can do it. But for me to go out here and jump in the New River Gorge and learn to swim, that's not me. So,
how are your members doing today? How are they doing now?
Yeah. What's that?
How's your members doing? How are the members of the fire department?
There's still a lot of, we've actually, the last couple of weeks since this, we've been inundated with fires, and we had, as we spoke, we had a little incident at the fire department where one of our firemen had to bail out of a house. And, I think you and I spoke, and I'm not, council, I really appreciate when something like that comes down, come and check on it. I think that when you all come in and say, hey, how's things going? The mayor was there, Rob brought some things down. And the same thing goes for our friends at the county commission. When it's quiet and guys and girls are there at the firehouse, come and check on them. That's part of creating a great relationship. Sit and talk, drink coffee. Because that releases them. And you saw the mental health check. You was there, and you could just tell when people first walked in, it was like nobody wanted to say anything. But by the end of it, everybody's smiling, everybody's hugging, everybody's shaking hands. That's first responders. We don't show that. We don't show emotion typically. But just people coming and checking on us, that's where it comes from. So.
Anything else for Chief Kimball? Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you all.
Up next on our special flood agenda, we have engineering professionals here, both Jay Holland, our city engineer, as well as our City of Buckhannon engineer firm of record, who Jay works very closely with, Buckhannon Associates. Gentlemen, the floor is yours. If there's any updates you want to provide for the community. I know we had some talks this morning during sanitary board meeting about how do we best move forward here with our infrastructure, and how I know that we'll never be able to prevent what happened. 4 inches of rain in 37 minutes is something that not a single system in the country can handle. But maybe give some updates about some of the things you've observed here since the flood took place, and some of the work that that you've undertaken, and maybe some suggestions that you might have for us moving forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Dave Sharp with Buckhannon Associates. We're invited here today just to kind of do a brief overview. We were asked specifically to look at a couple areas that are causing some flooding concerns. But I did want to reiterate what the mayor said. 4.5 inches of rain in 37 minutes is beyond any expectation of any stormwater system or flooding system that could have happened. We don't have enough money or resources to even think about designing or building, constructing features that would handle that. So that was beyond the imagination. And we live in Morgantown, and I do want to also reiterate what council has said. Thank everybody that was involved with this. I was staying in touch with Jay the night of and the morning after, and what you guys had to endure was unreal. So I appreciate everybody jumping in, taking care of your city. The pride that you have in your city is obvious. So with that being said, we obviously didn't look at and haven't and probably won't be able to look at all the issues that remain. There's a lot of things that happen with floods. There's infrastructure that's damaged, it's overwhelmed, it's filled up, it's compromised. As time goes on, those things will become more evident and show themselves over time and start causing problems, with hopefully minor problems that we can see and address. We've looked at a couple things so far. With me today is Chad Griffith. Chad's one of our senior engineers also in our Morgantown office, and Chad is kind of specialty in site development and hydrology and stormwater. So I'm going to turn it over to Chad, let him talk about a couple areas specifically that he's looked at.
Thanks, Dave.
Again, this is Chad Griffith from Buckhannon Associates. One of the places that we were asked to come take a look at this Monday of this week was an area on Rieger Street that has been subject of some complaints and some issues have been brought to the attention of the city. So Dave and I, with Jay, went and took a look at that area on Monday morning and made a few observations. And I'll quickly go through some of the things we saw and some of the things that we might recommend take place in order to move that forward. And again, like Dave said, this wasn't necessarily to do with the large flooding event, but it's just ongoing needs for the stormwater system. So there on Rieger Street, we took a look at it, and there's an area on the north side of the road that seems to be pooling water, and that's between house numbers 27 and 37. The stormwater effectively goes to that side of the road, but it can't make its way into the drains where it's originally designed to go. So there's an area there where the original crown of the road, which directs the stormwater to the left and right of the road to let the water flow along the gutters. During the last paving event, it looks like it has kind of done away with that crown, and so all the water that's flowing on the right side of the road hits that and has to come across to the left side of the road and crosses the road, which can cause a lot of problems. It eventually gets to another drain, but that can be some issues there. We observed many of the roadside drains. A lot of them had older pipes in them. Some of them had old clay pipes. The inside of the drains were deteriorated and some damage in there. So we observed that. And one other thing we observed was the original concrete curbs along the edges of the roads seem to be, for lack of a better word, disappearing as you pave higher and higher. It doesn't look like the paving that's been happening that any milling has been done. And so if you keep paving and making that pavement section higher and higher, you elevate the elevation of the road, and those curbs essentially get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where they're too short to hold any water, and it can easily jump those curbs into residents' driveways, into their yards, and cause problems that way. So we observed that there. We also took a look at some historical photographs from Google Street View from 2022 and 2025, just to see if this is an ongoing issue. And the standing water on the right side or the north side of the road was it's been there since we saw it in 2022. But since the last paving, that area where the crown has kind of disappeared, where the pavement has kind of made it a little bit easier for an uphill driveway to come in and out, and that forced that water to go across the road to the south side. That's new. That's just been done since the last paving. So that's been done since 2025. Let's see. So we took a look at the mapping that was available, and we noticed that a lot of the storm pipes and a lot of the locations of the storm drains weren't very accurate according to that mapping we had, and so it's kind of hard to get an idea of where the drain goes, where the water eventually flows to, without that accurate mapping. And so there's a couple possible remediation recommendations we could come to, and just that we came up with between our meeting there on Monday and now. It could be fixed with a number of things, including installing new drain inlets to tie into the piping system in those low spots where it's holding water. It's important to clean out the existing drains and structures to make sure if we were to put new drainage structures, you got to make sure it's tied into something that can handle it. Knowing that stuff, it helps you be able to calculate flows, calculate all the things that need to go into it. And then another possible fix would be revising the roadway surface by either milling or regrading. And that goes back to those curbs that, as As you pave higher and higher, the curbs get smaller and smaller, and the water can easily flow off the road where it's not intended to flow. So in order to further look into this, we had a couple of recommendations for more information as well, and that would be just some type of dye tracing for your drop inlets in there, just to see where the water's going, so we can just create a better mapping system. And you can do that using dye tracing or camera inspection also of subsurface, looking through those pipes, seeing where they go. And then, very importantly, a detailed survey data of that area, because you're talking about changes in elevations of 1/2 inch to 1 inch that make a big difference. So it's really flat in that area, and so having that detailed information will be very helpful to move forward and see what we need to do and have a good recommendation for remediation. So that's what we looked at on Rieger Street. Is there any questions on Rieger?
Yes, you mentioned that at the beginning you mentioned that the drains were tile or clay,
Yeah,
and they're
some of the pipes.
deteriorating. So would it be superfluous to just put in new drains and the whole tile? So would the recommendation be to put in new piping that would handle the water?
It would depend on the state that piping is in. If you were to camera it and it looked in good shape, there'd be no need to do that. But if it was tore up and caving in, things like that, then it would be a good idea as well. But also, you would need to do calculations to see if that smaller clay pipe would be big enough and large enough to handle today's flows, due to the extra runoff we've been getting lately.
Thank you. Any other questions? We appreciate you looking at this, and we probably will have you look at a few more through the city. I will note, for the public's knowledge, we did engage with Poteston Associates in 2023. Jay shaking his head yes, to put together a pretty comprehensive hydraulic study for the Jawbone Run area, which is the other area of concern in our community. And so perhaps we could add some updates to that study that was done in 2023, taking into account, the event that just took place. Again, we are challenged significantly by our geography, and I think that's a fair statement. Water does have to go somewhere, but I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I mean, this body is committed to doing what is within our possible scope here to try to help mitigate some of these issues for our citizens. Because none of us like this, whether we're directly affected by it or not. I mean, none of us like this or want our citizens to have to go through this again. So anything that we can do to try to, be proactive and take care of our systems in a way that could help, mitigate. Again, we will never stop a 4-inch and 40-minute event, no matter what kind of a system we have. But smaller gully washers, I really would like for us to be able to handle those the best that we can.
I think it's worth pointing out as well that we had talked about having Poteston put eyes on this area before the flood.
Yes,
So
that's
this
very
wasn't
true.
a reaction to the flood of the 21st. I don't want the public to think, well, we had a flood on the 21st and because of that, they asked Poteston to go to Rieger Avenue.
Right.
This was
Right,
talked
right.
about several weeks prior to
In
it.
fact, Mr. Dodson was here
Right.
in the sanitary board meeting before the flood took place.
Right.
And we had told him that we were going to direct our street department to work on some things, which we have, since. And so, yes, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, we know that, we want to try to mitigate the issues, and it just, the flooding event that took place just, you know,
I have information on that original study we did on Jawbone Run. I don't know if it'd be worth going over any of the high points of that, or if you're good with just the Rieger Street. You want to hear some of the high points of Jawbone Run?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, if you have it with you, just to highlight for folks who might be listening at home and watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were contacted by the city back in 2022 and 2023 to take a look at the Jawbone Run area. And we did a big hydrology study of the whole drainage area from the mountains and hillsides above it that comes down into the city limits and the neighborhoods. And so we studied 3 different locations based on that model, just to compare. Our purpose was to try to see what the culverts in the area, where a lot of the water was jumping out on large events and flowing down the roads, things like that. So just real quickly, the 3 areas that we looked at were right at the very end of Myrna Street, where Jawbone Run kind of turns. That's an area where a lot of times it'll just jump its banks and just, instead of running down the stream behind the homes, it goes right down the road and causes problems there. And then the culvert at Gum Street, and then the culvert at West Lincoln Street. Those were our 3 main study points for this hydrological study. And just quick summary, that study determined that the Swisher Street culvert there is a 60-inch culvert. It's the largest one in the area. And it can handle a flow of about 110, 120 cubic feet a second. And according to the report and the calculations, that would handle the 5 to 10 year, up to the 5-year storm, which usually when we're designing culverts, like for new developments, things like that, we design for the 10 or even up to the 25-year storm. So even the largest culvert in that area appeared to be undersized. Then as you get past that culvert, when you get to the culvert at Gum Streets and Bogus Streets and West Lincoln, they actually come down to 40-inch culvert and then 42-inch culverts. And those can only flow about 50 to 60 CFS, which comes, according to the study, comes to about the 1-year storm. So, which means every year you have a 50% chance that those culverts are going to be overrun and not large enough. And so we went through and we calculated and we gave some, just made note that those are areas of concern. So that's the high points. We gave some recommendations on some culvert sizes to replace, but I know a lot of that area is private property. It's hard to get access to, those are the highlights of the report and the calculations we did. And the recommendation.
Well, you're exactly right. As we spoke this morning in Sanitary Board, the Jawbone Run, the entirety of it is a private property street. So where each resident, their property lines come together, most of that in the middle of the street. Mm-hmm. Some people own a little bit more of the street than the other, but in general, it is all private property, and of course we have some of that too because it comes underneath Jawbone Park and underneath our public safety department. So, but the bottom line is it is not a city-owned tributary, and so that does create challenges for us. That entire neighborhood was developed in the 50s and 60s before the city had any zoning, before the city had a lot of its building code that it has now, and so. There were just culverts slapped down and houses put over top, and all of a sudden the creek just started disappearing over time when that neighborhood was built. I know this very well because I grew up there. My parents still live there. And actually a small finger of Jawbone runs right underneath of their house. And they have a sub pump for it because when I was 12 or 13 years old, all of a sudden their crawl space filled up full of water almost coming into the vents of the HVAC system from the floor. Something happened, and so a sub pump had to be put in to keep it dry under there. But it was found then, I think, is that there is a finger of jawbone that runs directly underneath their house. And so we have this creek drainage system that comes off of West Lincoln, comes off of West Victoria, drains those fairly steep areas into the Buckhannon River, right over here behind the 88. But in order for us, as you say, the culverts are undersized, in order for us to drastically increase those culvert sizes, we would be eliminating many structures through there. So it is very prohibitive, and you can't really bore underneath of a house. So it does create a significant challenge. Now, one of the things that we did talk about, I think, and it might be, if I remember correctly in that report, was creating almost a dam situation upstream.
Yeah.
If we could find private property owners that would be willing to work with us to create a reservoir area to dam it up, to control it a little bit better. Is there anything you want to touch base on that?
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, it's still these larger events will still create the issues downstream.
Right. Yeah, so going through that part of the analysis we did, we modeled the system, and then we modeled a possible detention pond in the right before it gets to the neighborhood, just to capture all the water that comes from the hillsides around before it starts going through the problem areas where the culverts and the open channels are through the neighborhoods. And just real quickly, I won't give you all the numbers, but essentially what that'll, if you were to build that, you would be able to reduce the amount of water that's coming through those culverts, obviously, and would actually help those culverts be able to pass larger storms. So each of those culverts with that pond in the upper reaches, it increased the storm event it can handle by 1 or 2. So instead of handling the 1-year storm, it could handle the 5-year storm. The ones that could handle the 10-year storm now could handle the 25-year storm. So it was definitely something that helped. But like you said, that alone would not solve the problem. But you could solve the problem as much as getting up to the 10, 25-year storm with that, plus reinstalling appropriately sized culverts. But as we discussed, that's very prohibitive in the area. So.
Because the creek is above ground, well, it's all, but it's visible and then it's not visible. It's visible, yep. It's not visible. Because right past the Gum Street, Bogus Street culvert, it's an open channel until it gets to a home on West Lincoln Street, and then it goes underground. And it's underground. And there's a small section right next to Maple Street that's open, and it goes right back underground again. And then it's open right behind Speedway, and then it goes right, and then it's underground the rest of the way.
Yeah, so. Those are all different size culverts that are all, especially that far downstream, they're all undersized. So.
The unfortunate part about so much of what happened in the large event is that it took place in areas that they're not in a flood zone. That neighborhood is actually not in a flood zone. There's a little orange line that follows the creek that shows an advisory zone. That it's as you said, the 50-50 chance that on a 1-year event you could get some water in your yard.
Yeah.
But this was a catastrophic flood event that would look like the entire area should be in a flood zone, and it is not. Now, it should be noted, though, that once you get past West Lincoln Street, it is all in a flood zone. And in fact, a big section of West Lincoln Street between what used to be the Ross House at Maple Street over to about to Pinnell Street is in the flood zone, and that entire neighborhood back toward the Catholic Church is in the flood zone. But everything to the south, upstream is not. as well as Rigger Avenue is not. They're right in the backyard, it starts that advisory zone, but then on toward Shawnee Drive is where it gets into the actual flood zone.
Right.
So this event defied, what has always been, and as Jay has meticulously, he has charted this forever as to where the flooding takes place in this community, and it's for this reason, so that FEMA knows where these lines truly are, and this has defied a lot of that. But I really appreciate you looking at Rigger Avenue, as well as bringing up some things about refreshing our memories about the Jawbone Run area, and I think we would be certainly interested in what mitigation, further mitigation suggestions and recommendations that you would have for our systems. Because again, I mean, if we can try to protect us from the 1-year storms and at least get us to, the 5 or 10-year storms, I mean, I think that would be our goal at this point. Because we know we're never going to be able to solve it all. Mother Nature will always win. But we can do the best we can with the system that we have to work with here. So,
Absolutely.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jay, is there anything you want to add to?
Briefly on a couple of projects. As you know, in March I submitted on the Taylor Street. Due to the flooding event, we asked for an expedited review from FEMA, and they said, no, you all are currently scheduled for review August 31st. It's in Philly. It just hasn't been reviewed yet. So that's one of the problems areas that we've talked about in the past. And again, not as a result of the flood, but because of high water events. And then Shane Whitehair this morning brought up an interesting fact that there may be some monies available, due to this disaster that occurred, some public assistance, realizing that there are some deficiencies maybe in areas of the storm system, one of them being Jawbones, and maybe we could apply for some grant or some loan funding to look at those areas. As soon as I get that information, I'll update you. But, so now we're looking at 4 active areas, and I just wanted to mention those last 2.
Sure. Specific to Taylor Street, since that one has not been mentioned yet, I do want to note that this mitigation project has been in the works for about a year now. We have submitted, and part of the reason for that is a grant is helping us with this project.
If successful.
If successful, yes. I mean, I think there's a notion out there that we don't apply for grants that would actually help this stuff. We certainly do, and every year in your annual report that we share during the State of the City address highlights the significant amount of grant money that you apply for, and that a lot of it we receive thanks to you to help us with our stormwater and just infrastructure and general issues around our city. So I do want to note that. And I also want to note that the purchase of the 181 Camden Avenue property is for a larger stormwater project that has nothing to do with the flood event that just took place. That is part of this Taylor Street project that we have had in the works for about a year.
Dave and Chad and I have been working on that. That's phase 2.
Correct.
But we did not have the grant matching money in the stormwater department to look at that. But they've done a very preliminary study on that. We know where we'd have to take off from there and do a detailed study, so that if we are successful in this grant, typically they'll look at the next phase if it's not out of the ordinary or it doesn't exceed too much money. So if we're successful, that's where I'll immediately go back and apply for, engage with Dave and Chad again, and we'll look at that. Or maybe it becomes part of this PA declaration. We're
Sure.
just, I'm looking at options at the moment, but
Right.
We're looking at those 4 areas, and it's not all of Buckhannon. It will not encompass all of Buckhannon, but it'll get a good portion of the areas that are subject to these frequent high water events.
Exactly right. And I want to make sure it's known that we do our best to be proactive. And I think we've shown that, and I mean, we've responded to what became a large problem on Camden Avenue, and we've worked diligently. You and Potesta have done a wonderful job in working to find a solution. Because one thing about water, and I know you all would agree with this, is you might fix one issue, but you have to be careful in how it affects everything else upstream and downstream of the area that is of concern. Water always has to go somewhere. And so if we could mitigate an issue on this section here, but create an unintended consequence for everyone either downstream or upstream. And so these plans and these projects take time to thoroughly consider, because we don't want to create an unintended consequence and cause harm on neighbors just to fix one thing, but we've now hurt others in the process. So I thank you, and I thank you guys for diligently working on this. And I mean, Potesta has been a phenomenal partner for us since I remember going through the 5G process to bring an engineering firm on board. I mean, we can't say enough good things about Potesta and how much they've helped us with, we're a challenging community.
We are. When a third of it's in the floodplain,
Yep.
It's difficult.
So, yes.
All right, that was it.
Thanks, Jay. Mr. Dodson, it is your turn, sir.
Well, I'm the guy who lives on Rigger Street that gets flooded. I know this has been probably the storm of the century. Probably, I hope never see another one again. Water rose so fast. My biggest concern was to keep the water out of my living room, but I didn't succeed. I did have about 3-4 inches in my living room. Having said that, yeah, I lost some things, but not what other people lost. My heart goes out to the people that lost everything. And I will say this about the community. The community really rallied. They really rallied for Buckhannon. We take a lot of pride in this town. I know the mayor does. And he cried over the time. I saw that on tape.
Yeah.
And listen, I shed tears too. But I met the gentleman on Monday. They was up on Rigger Street. The city boys came up on Tuesday. And Jay came up on Wednesday. I thought, man, I'm being bombarded. I'm going to be the focal point. But no, the water, I've had the water for a long time. You're all aware of it, and I appreciate you all taking time. Mr. Sanders, I appreciate you too, and all of you here. The issue that I have, I still got, every time it rains, I got water. I ain't worried about water coming in my living room, but the road is even with my driveway. I have some running water off the neighbors, but about my driveway to the neighbor's side, looks like the Mississippi River now when it floods. But I'm not really, I am complaining, and I'm not. I'm really glad to see what progress you've made. I've been met with you all, and I really appreciate you all taking the time to help me with the situation. Another thing I was really disappointed in the other night when we had the flood is people driving through it. That was made it the worst for me. I'm fighting cancer, and I just had a treatment, and I'm trying to, my wife put her car across the road, and that gentleman just raked her over the coals and stuff. We did call 911. Of course, their hands was full, like you said, they had. I never expected that much rain. It came up so fast. I concentrated on the front. Not one time did I worry about the back. My wife went in a little later and said, you don't see the back. The water was back in my back, came back to the back of my house. So, having said that, I appreciate you all coming up and doing the survey. Mayor, it means a lot to me, and I hope we get something done. It's like I say, it's just not the flood, it's the rain that I have to contend with every time it rains. And, I do have an outlet in my driveway that was, when I first moved, that was covered over. Nobody knew it was there. City came up one day and cut it all up. Hey, we found it. I would like to recommend, I told Jay, I would like for y'all to put a crate, if nothing else, put it all the way across over to my driveway, at least maybe catch some of that water. I don't know what you all going to plan on doing up there, but I do appreciate you all. I want you to know that, and I'm proud of our town. And I want to thank everybody that volunteered their time. I wish I was healthy enough to, I want to be part of that volunteerism and stuff that Buckhannon shows. So thank you for your time. Thank you all, gentlemen, for doing what you've done for us.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, we have made it through our special flood agenda. I appreciate you all, indulging in that. So I think it's important information and gives us direction here on how we proceed. Up next, under public comment, let's see here. We have Elise Hillman is here from the SBA Disaster Assistance.
Mayor, I'm gonna let the test go. They gotta drive back to Morgantown. So
Yeah, this is the second time they've made this trip today.
I thought they could stay, but they chose not to.
I got hot dogs on the grill later.
Oh,
I've heard that before.
It's been the running joke all day. Guys, thanks for coming up. We appreciate it.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Elise Hillman, and I am a Public Affairs Specialist with the SBA. And so basically, I am here because of the resources that we have. We do work alongside FEMA.
We're having a hard time hearing.
Is the mic on or?
That one, yeah, it is on.
Yeah, I can try to turn it up a little bit.
1, 2, 3, testing.
Hang on, go ahead, try it
Speaking
again.
in front of a microphone. Testing? Okay.
There we go.
Awesome.
There we go.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Elise Hillman, and I am a Public Affairs Specialist. And I truly love what I do, even though we do go into disaster areas. I love what I do because we help people. And so right here, wanted to just go over a quick synopsis. I don't have enough time to go through everything, but I did provide you all with some flyers. And I also want to thank, I know she's not here, but Miss Teresa Summers.
Mhm.
She was very helpful over the phone with me, and so she will also be forwarding our most current press release as well as our fact sheet. And so just want to make sure I go over a few things. First and foremost, for all of those that may have been impacted, I know that we spoke on the recovery centers that FEMA resides in. We also reside in the same building as FEMA. And so for those who may have been, again, may have been impacted, we have 2 locations that they can go into. We have a business recovery center that's actually Mountaineer Specialty LLC building. They're allowing us to reside there. And then also off of the east, for all of those business owners and also like private nonprofit organizations that may have been impacted. A lot of people don't know also the SBA services homeowners and renters. And so we are loan-based for those individuals that may not have had insurance, things of that nature. We have low interest in loans that are available. And we have an upcoming deadline date of October the 3rd. Those who may have experienced an economic injury, mostly that's pertaining to businesses that may have not had like physical damage, but because people cannot patronize their business, that's going to create an economic injury. So we understand, and that takes a little bit more time for those to access those damages and recoup, revenue that's lost. Operational costs, all of those things that go into operating a business. So for those who may experience an economic injury, that deadline date is not until May 3rd, 2027. So just to reiterate, those who may have had physical damage, we want to make sure that they're coming into our recovery centers and just applying. It's from the SBA side of things. We do not, there's no cost to submit the application, and then there's also no obligation for those individuals to accept the loan. So we just ask that if you were impacted in any type of way, please come down to our recovery centers. Please speak with someone in person. Every situation, everyone's situation is going to be different. So we just want to make sure that we are communicating all of the resources that we have available to all of those that may have been impacted. That's really it. I know that there's a lot to go over, but that's why we said, the press release and fact sheet, and then there's some flyers for you all to have as well.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Now we roll down to our recognized guests, of which we have two. First up is Cadence Ringer, who is our brand new executive director of our Upshur County CVB, and she has prepared her annual report for us this evening.
Bear with me just a second. I'm going to try and get you guys a visual up here.
All right, Cadence, you're the presenter, so we're going to get a chance to give this a test run, so bear with us. Going to share something. There we go.
Yep.
Wonderful.
All
I love
right.
when technology works there.
Yeah.
Okay, so good evening, council. My name is Cadence Turner. Thanks for the wonderful introduction, Mr. Mayor. I am the brand new director of the Upshur County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I started in February, and this is the annual report from the Upshur County Convention and Visitors Bureau for the fiscal year 25-26. So I've only had a small piece in the work that's been presented here. I want to reiterate that I am building upon the strong foundation that was left by the previous director, Lacey Ramsey. She has guided me through all of the beginning phases of becoming a new director and has left me with some really great projects to build upon and also some fresh ideas as well. My goal today is to reinforce your confidence in the CVB and highlight our momentum coming in the next year. And emphasize how essential your advocacy is. Tourism doesn't grow without your support and your leadership, and so I hope this presentation is able to do that for you. Here's just a high-level overview of what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to try and keep it a little bit shorter. I can talk about this for hours, but I just hope to bring a little bit of sunshine to you guys. You guys have worked tirelessly, and I just want to show you how our visitors see our city and our county. So our overview, we promote Upshur County and Buckhannon as a small town getaway with big time charm. Our Main Street earned growing recognition for its welcoming atmosphere and distinctive character. Again, the people is what makes our town what it is. And there's people here today that have reiterated that to you guys as well. Some of our key highlights is that we have a new director, but also an operations assistant who is working the weekends to make sure that our visitors have access to our visitor center as well. We have national magazine and website placements. And then also we have had some strong collaboration with other local organizations. Here was our board of directors for the previous fiscal year. We have representation from the County Commission, Community Care, West Virginia Wesleyan College, Upshur County Airport Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, the Southern Upshur Business Association, Strawberry Festival, and I could go on. We have some really great representation here. Mr. Sanders serves on our board representing the city, and then we also have a tourism appointee from the city, and that is Lily Hicks, and she works for the West Virginia Department of Commerce. Just a little year in review, we have some website analytics. We sent out 19,789 e-newsletters. That includes events that are going on within our county and city. We have 146,000 Facebook views, and I have already seen an increase in this. Obviously, we're a little bit into this next fiscal year, and so those numbers are already trending upwards from what they were previously. I have a list of events that we've attended or supported here. I'm not going to read through all of them because we are busy, but it's always one of my favorite parts to be involved with other events that are going on as well. Here's a little bit of our media report, just to go over some of our marketing. We have 3 social media platforms that we are active on. That is Facebook, Instagram, and most recently TikTok. We've had some short form video assets that have been sitting in our folders, so I wanted to put those to use. And what better way to do that as a new director? So that is highlighting Barbecue Bash, Audra, some spring art shows that we had, And then we have print media and physical media here. These are national magazine placements. One of them is Unplug Magazine. Super high engagement with that one as well, distributed to all 50 states. And we've got some pretty good recognition. These all do social media pairings with their publications. And one of the highest engaged posts on their social medias was something of Upshur County. That says something. These places are highlighting the Rockies and larger tourism places, and so to see that our county is getting that recognition just says something. And then we have some other projects that we worked on throughout the year, building itineraries for influencer visits, social media campaigns, photo marketing campaigns in collaboration with the city and the county, and also West Virginia's largest yard sale that took place last fiscal year. Here's the fun part, the financial overview. So the CVB serves as the official destination marketing organization for Buckhannon and Upshur County. We drive local economic growth and boost visitor spending and enhance community quality of life. Under West Virginia State Code, hotel occupancy tax is collected by both the county and the city. 50% of that total revenue is allocated towards the CVB. The city opts to give 70% to the CVB. Once we receive those funds, we operated under a state mandated budget structure. 40% must go to marketing, 40% towards personnel, and 20% towards overhead. As you can see up here in the diagram, we've hit those numbers pretty head on, a little bit under our marketing. That just came with the shift of directorship and changing in some numbers there as well. We budgeted $102,000 in the past fiscal year. We came in with $124,000. That's $20,000 over what we budgeted, and that's not including the month of May. So that's pretty significant. That's a 21% increase over the last fiscal year. That just says something right there. That's all in the numbers. I'm a numbers person. Whatever you can prove it with the numbers right there. $105,000 of that $124,000 came from the city. Just pausing to let you guys understand how big of an impact that is. All 4 of our hotels are within city limits, and so obviously that is a substantial reason as to why, but also our visitors are coming to see our historic Main Street as well. So next I'll go into our visitor profile. So I just got access to a pretty cool data analytics platform. I didn't have access to this information until a couple Tuesdays ago. And so this is a visitor intelligence platform that allows me to track geolocation of our visitors and get kind of insight on why they're coming here, what they're seeing, what they're doing, where they're spending their money, things like that. So this is huge for the CVB to have access to. A little bit of the numbers that are presented here, 74% of our overnight visitors are from out of state. 44% have children. Our largest age group is 45 to 54, and our average daily spend is $47. Our top markets of visitors, this was from last fiscal year, is DC, Roanoke, Charleston, Pittsburgh, and Wheeling. And Charleston had the highest visitor spend here while they were in our location. Our visitor impact, when visitors come to Upshur County, whether they're here for leisure, business, or even a quick trip, they're bringing in new dollars. I mean, our residents circulate their money, but when somebody comes in, that's new money circulating into our businesses. They spend on lodging, dining, entertainment, shopping, you guys know. And that goes straight into our local economy and supports small businesses, helps sustain jobs, and generates tax revenue that funds projects and infrastructure in our community, and those are things that we rely on. So looking at our visitor impact, 42% of all visitor spend, or from all spend within the county, was from visitors. Now that includes, as you can see in the fine print here, that includes visitors, anybody that is not a resident within Upshur County. So that is from 50 miles to 50 plus miles. That's kind of how the CVB geolocates our visitors, within 50 miles or outside of 50 miles. 96% of all lodging spend was from visitors. 61% of all retail spend was from visitors, and 45% of all restaurant spend was from our visitors. So when we talk about tourism being an economic engine, these numbers make it clear. Visitors are bringing in substantial new dollars, and that directly benefits our county and our city. So looking ahead, this is the fun part. This is what I'm excited about. As we look ahead in 26, 27, our strategy focuses on strengthening our visibility. We want more people to know about us. We want people to come and visit us and see what Buckhannon and Upshur County is all about. I'm a hometown girl, and so to be able to stand up here and market our community, it means a lot to me. And I feel like I'm pretty passionate about it, and I can do it in my sleep. So we're going to make smarter data-backed decisions. With that new platform that we have, everything is going to be driven by data. I'm a numbers person. We will see immediate impact on our digital, our print, any PR channel that we're through. We will see immediate impact from that as well. We can also make better targeted decisions by looking into conferences and other things that can attract visitors into our area on those weekday events. So one of our key priorities, of course, is to increase visitor volume and overnight stays and position Buckhannon as a hub for those conferences, meeting, and group experiences. We're going to continue to build itineraries around local events and downtown attractions. We mentioned building itineraries around Festival Fridays and encouraging our visitors to come in a day early to hit those local events, really get the atmosphere of what Buckhannon is as well. And so we are going to encourage our visitors to be immersed in Buckhannon's hospitality and charm. It's truly an experience like no other. Nowhere else is like Buckhannon. So thank you guys for your time. I hope this presentation reinforces your confidence in the CDB and highlights the momentum that we're building. Your advocacy as city leadership is vital. Tourism doesn't grow without it, and your support makes our success possible. I've also highlighted here, we are a new location for an Almost Heaven Swing, which is a West Virginia State Tourism Initiative. So, any questions?
Wow.
I know that's a lot more, probably not what you guys were expecting, but.
I think this is the most thorough CDB report, annual report that we've ever received.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Very, very well done.
Thank you.
Now, we appreciate all the work you put into it, Cadence. You know, I had a lot of confidence in you when you came into the position, and you exceeded my expectations already. So thank you for your work, and keep it up.
Just appreciate your guys' advocacy as well for tourism. I mean, being involved in the cooperative opportunity without CDB assistance as well really says something about how you feel about tourism. And so I really appreciate that, and I hope our partnership continues to grow as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any questions for Cadence? All right.
Thank you for the big comments on our city.
Absolutely. I love it.
All right, Randy's taking back over control.
I think I have. I don't know for sure, but I think I have. Thank you again, Cadence.
All right. Up next, under recognized guests, we welcome Tyler Simmons from Superior Contracting to talk to us about something pretty cool that's going to be happening and give us an update on a project that's been taking place in the works, I should say, for quite some time through Mission Appalachia.
Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council, for having me this evening. My name is Tyler Simmons, here on behalf of both Mission Appalachia and Superior Contracting. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we are giving away a house here in about 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
And it kind of dawned on us, hey, we should probably get together how we're going to do our giveaway. And we had a thought the other day, why not make a community event? So right now, we have it listed. We're trying to get maybe 300 people or so. We're going to probably try to do a locked off list of invitees. You go in, register, that way we don't have anything too crazy. And essentially we just have a big community cookout, get everybody together and give the house away. And I'm just here to ask for you guys for approval for that because we did not make it in time for the Consolidated Public Works meeting for that. And answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Tyler? So they're looking to have this on Labor Day weekend, Saturday.
It would be Monday.
Monday, sorry, the 7th. That's right, yeah, because 7th will be a little too late for it to be Saturday. So Monday the 7th down at Jawbone Park, actually on Labor Day, which the park will be open by that time.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So, any questions? This would be an event request.
Everything has been submitted as well. We have the insurance form for it. Everything is good to go.
I have to recuse myself from the vote, but I have a comment. This project, I've been able to spend several days, and Tyler will attest to that, sitting at a computer registering applicants for the house. And this has had a nationwide impact. You name a state, we have applications. And it's a tremendous project to give away a house. People can purchase, I guess you'd say, tickets online. And the proceeds, a portion of that will go to Feed My Sheep.
Yeah, our biggest thing is they're feeding about 45,000 people in the community out of a 1,500 square foot building. And we need to change that because I've been there, I've seen the work they do, and it's absolutely incredible. You know,
and good publicity for Buckhannon. And, you know, for those that didn't buy tickets, they could just write in and receive tickets as well. That's a result of federal law, and everything has been legal. And like I said, the PR for Buckhannon has been tremendous. It's been a great project.
appreciate that, thank you.
How are you gonna actually?
So we're working with an attorney, so it's third party, so it has nothing to do with us, and she's gonna do the physical drawing for us, so there's no conflict
What
of
do you do,
interest.
just
in
put the
that.
names of everybody that's entered into that? Or?
So from what, my research, what I've done and talked to her, is essentially every single entry would have a number, and you would use a certified random number generator, and it would give us that number corresponding to the person who won the house. That way, we don't have anything, we're not directly pressing the button, we have our third party with our attorney, and there is no issues there.
Do you have an idea how many entries you have?
Last I saw, we were probably close to probably 50 or 60,000 or more, if not.
Oh, you're well above that.
Oh, well, that was the last I saw, I'm not
You're
sure.
well above that. You know, you were able to put an entry in daily,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and a daily is worth 200 tickets.
Wow.
And we had, can't say names, but we had a gentleman from California, I'm serious. Every day, we had his entry. Newark, New Jersey, every day, we had his entry. I mean, there were people that had 80, 90,000 entries apiece. I mean, this is.
Do you know where the furthest person is from?
I know there was somebody from Washington, like middle of the state
of Washington, California. I mean, we had some from Canada, I believe.
Which unfortunately they can't win because they're not.
And they can't participate.
You live in West Virginia, Indiana?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I live in West Virginia. Tons.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean,
That would be the closest.
Post office will show up profit this year, I do believe. But I mean, when I started to help them out, I mean, the staff of entries was this, no doubt it was about this tall. And they just come in. It's just been amazing. So I'd say you're probably pushing 750,000 to 1 million entries.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
So if this goes well, which, I mean, at this point, it's, you know, it has, it's going to. Do you think that this is it too soon to say, is this a one and done, or do you think you're going to try to do this again, or?
I think we have to see where the cards fall after that. I definitely, the whole point of this was to highlight West Virginia and highlight communities like Buckhannon and bring more recognition. As I wish we would have worked with the CBB a little bit more. I wish I'd have known that was an option to do that. But we want to keep uplifting smaller communities and communities like ours to the recognition they deserve. We want to bring all that to light, and that's what we've been doing. Me personally, I'm the one that's been recording all the videos and putting all the episodes together and getting all that out there. So I got a little bit of skin in the game when it comes to that, and I want to be able to continue to do what we're doing and continue uplifting communities.
I don't want to speak for Kate, but I believe she'll be in her office tomorrow.
I'll just stop by and see her, yeah.
So once the person is chosen, are you going to have them? I'm sure they're going to come here. They're going to make a big deal about it when they get here.
No, they're just.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Honestly, I think for like a final episode, we want to walk through with the new owner of the house so they can see it. And we have a lot of stuff over the course of filming where you can see what it looked like before and what it looks like now. And Josh Bennett of Bennett Services has been incredible in there doing work for us. It doesn't even look like the same house. They've got the siding on it now. I think they're going to start working on the deck. Everything's done inside. So
It's gonna be done by then, right?
oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I own the rental right next to it. I know.
I know he's been into enter too. You better watch out. You might might lose your renter.
Well, I think this is really neat, and I really appreciate you all taking this on and doing this in Buckhannon. So I know that Superior Contracting is obviously headquartered here, so that it makes it easy. But who knows? We may have ourselves a Ben and Aaron on our hands here, putting us on the map, hometown West Virginia edition. I don't know.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's right, bring him here.
That's right. All right, so what we are here this evening that we need to do is to approve this event, and all of their paperwork is in order. Teresa has gathered it all to approve the Jawbone Park event on Labor Day, September 7th, for Mission Appalachia's home giveaway. What time will that be?
Looking right now, she told us we'll have the park from 9 to 9, so we can get there and set up. I'm thinking it's probably 2 to 6:30 or 2 to 6. We don't want to do too long. Keep everybody out. We're gonna get there and do the cookout, get everybody together, get the house giveaway, and then get cleaned up and get out.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good. Is there a motion to approve this event? Motion by Pam, is there a second? Second by Rob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
You don't have to. It's just an event. But you can't.
My son's involved, so I'll abstain. In case somebody.
Oh, I like putting it in there that he abstained, see.
In case somebody wants to split hairs, it's best I abstain.
All right. Noting Mr. Rigger's abstention, the motion passes unanimously.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you guys at the cookout.
All right. Thank you. All right. So that event is now approved. All right. We are down to the financial report.
Where you been, Andy? I've been for you all evening.
Back down to the boring stuff now with that exciting things. Okay, I'm going to give your balances for your enterprise funds for the month of July. Waste collection, money market and checking, $1,949,000. CD and savings at $329,000, and the letter of credit at $64,000. Water board money market and checking, $1,267,000. Working capitals and savings, $962,000. The water renewal and replacement fund that's required by the bond. We have to deposit into that every month, and I just did some deposits in August, so that'll go up at the next report. During July, it was $23,396. The water project fund, that original $6 million loan, we're at $4,571,000. Sanitary board money market and checking, $683,000, with the working capitals at $505,000. And then the water, stormwater fund is at $339,000. In your packet, the bills I want to point out to you for the month of July from the 16th to August the 15th. So July 16th, August the 15th. Spruce Creek Enterprises demo cleanup of 86 Randolph Street. So that property is completely clear. City owns that, $13,775. That'll be eventually a property that will be auctioned off by the city to recoup some of the funds to clean it up. Fleet Pride brake shoe kit and brake drum for Engine 1 Fire Department, $3,900. Scott Electric electrical supplies for the food vendor hookups and Jawbone, $5,100. Sunset Graphics, 4th of July, street and pole banners for the 250th celebration, $12,625. Silk Coat Concepts painting curves, South Florida Street and Camden Avenue, $4,800. Ben Arisman for 5 weeks of mowing city lots, $11,925. Ace Materials concrete for the sewer cuts at Franklin. Sidewalk is $4,300. And I mentioned this at the last meeting. The 2019 Ford 550 bucket truck, we purchased it outright, $27,846 coming out of general fund. The coal tax, $59,300 will go to that, so we didn't borrow funds, we used the coal tax and what they had budgeted for financing and general fund to purchase the truck. And it's going to be delivered very soon. Valley Steel Service, steel plate 20 channel for public safety training facility, $5,100. Your revenues for the month of July was $355,000. The expenses were $858,000. Now, so caveat back to that. So we'll go back to July a little bit. 1st of July, we expensed several things outright, the lump sum of liability insurance. We had to get paid out upright the first year, lump sum. We had health savings accounts that we contributed to the employees. That was expensed in July. All of those outside entities that were previously requested in budget sessions, such as UCDA, their funding, the Transit Authority, the fireworks, the health department, the airport, and then we internally contribute to stormwater was in there. And we also had 3 payrolls in July. So that is not unusual when we had all these lump sum payments and prepays and all those things we had to pay right in July, the new fiscal year. So that was that. Just briefly, not talked about flood, but I will tell you, we are tracking hours that the employees have worked. So the gentleman talked about the PA funds and the public assistance funds. So hope to at least capitalize on some of those funds, some of that money for maybe payroll. We had 1,730 hours so far in total, hours that's been worked for the flood. We have that broken down and we're not sure what they'll ask for, but we'll ask for it. Then damages as far as equipment, we have turned that into the insurance. They're working on some of that, but it was our estimate about $349,000 worth of equipment was damaged. We do know, good news, I know the mini excavator that was at Jawbone and the backhoe will be counted as a total loss, so we get some funds back out of that. And then they gave us, they were going to give us some from the volunteer fire side, where we turned into VFIS insurance. They're about $7,900, $1,000 deductible, so $6,900, but it's going to be approved to get some of that back. So we're waiting on the insurance, and then of course we'll go to the public assistance once that's declared and see what we can get out with that. And I think that's about it for the financial part.
Any questions for Andy? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion that we approve the payment of our bills. Motion by Rob, second by Randy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Like sign opposed, motion carries. Down to the recommendation from our Revenue and Expense Review Committee.
The Revenue Review Committee, the presentation made to the city from the Our House company program, and they were requesting $10,000 of the opioid funds. So remember, this is opioid funds, not general fund funds. So that was referred to the Revenue Review Committee and also the opioid committee. So that was good. I mean, there are certain rules we have to follow just by the opioid money from the state, and then we are developing our own guidelines to kind of tweak it down. So Our House presented their application to the city, and we talked about it. Actually, people from Our House came to the meeting to answer several questions that we asked. This organization ran into some issues when their AmeriCorps funding was reduced. The organization also expanded. They have 2 houses now. They had one. They are assisting with transportation expenses, and then payroll expenses in particular is what they needed assistance for, because they had 2 peer recovery support specialists that are funded by that, and they didn't want to lose those support people. The organization, actually, when we were looking at it, they are the only certified organization in this area. There is a women's house over in Elkins that they actually help assist to set up. And they're the only certified organization in this region. I pretty much anything on this side of the region, they're the only certified one. They are a 501 organization. They have SAM's registration, so they are eligible to seek funding through federal grants, and they're located in Buckhannon. One of the things we asked about was their sustainability. Long term, if we contributed this $10,000, so they seek and get funding from foundations, state and federal grants, and also community donations. So the opioid committee, and Matt is a member of that. Erica isn't a member, but she works as peer liaison out of the Buckhannon Police Department, so she's very familiar with her work, and they supported it as well. So the recommendation from the Revenue Review Committee to Council is that you do contribute the $10,000 to them for the bridge that they need to continue the operations.
Thank you for that very thorough report, Amby, and I just will reiterate, just to make sure that there are no questions. When the city received our portion of the opioid lawsuit settlement, class action all over the state, municipalities and counties got involved with, and when we received our allotment for that, this is exactly the kind of assistance that we can provide with that money. This money cannot go for stormwater repair. This money cannot go into our utility systems. This money is specifically designed and earmarked for recovery, substance abuse recovery in our community. And so this is a separate account. This is separate money that does not commingle with our general fund or any of our utilities.
That's right.
Yes. So, council has heard the recommendation. Does council have any questions for Amby or for any of the members who are here from our house? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion that we support as a council the recommendation from the Revenue and Expense Review Committee to allocate $10,000 from our opioid settlement dollars toward financial assistance to One Unique Recovery House Incorporated. Motion by Randy, second by Jack, third by Rob, fourth by Sean.
What's the chance of the passing?
This is not the house giveaway. All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you for the work that you do.
It would be nice if we would come back in the future and just share the successes of your program.
Absolutely, yeah. May I?
Yes.
Sure.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting us in our mission, and I absolutely will keep you updated on all of our progress and everything that we're doing in the community. If you haven't seen yet, we just recently partnered with Routes to Recovery, Recovery Points Routes to Recovery. It was a 2-year long, grueling process. I learned I should not work in the transportation system. It is rough, but it has been an amazing partnership. Our house doesn't benefit from it, but our community benefits from it, so that's really what matters to us. And if you haven't seen it or anyone in the public hasn't seen it yet, it's Routes to Recovery. You can look it up online, look it up on our Facebook page, and it provides non-emergency medical transportation to the community. Despite the name, you do not have to be in recovery to use the service. It's open up to anyone. You know, it's not a requirement of it to be in recovery, and we're really excited for it. And you guys, we have an open door policy. Stop by and see us at either of our locations. We do have a pretty massive event. We're working with Erica with First Choice Services and Community Care of West Virginia on Thursday, September 24th at Java Park. And then we also have 6 other locations throughout the complete county. We're going to be everywhere on that day. So I welcome you guys to join us at Jawbone on that day. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. Up next is our Public Works report. I can tell you what it is. it's been flood recovery. Every single department has been all hands on deck. Not only have our waste department professionals been working on this, but our street department, water department, and sanitary departments have all been working very hard to clear debris from city streets, and they've gone really above and beyond. Our water department has not only fixed leaks, right here in town, but during the flood event, they went all over the county fixing leaks in the PSD network. Our sanitary department has been working on infrastructure repairs throughout the community in response to the flood. Our street department has been working overtime to get our parks cleaned, our city streets cleaned, to reduce what Chief Kimball talked about over in Weston, the mud everywhere. And I think our city's looking really, really good. And our hats go off to all of our public works crews who have been really giving it their all in the weeks following this event. So that is what they've been up to. And again, everything that has been asked of them has been done. And it's been done quickly. And I really, really appreciate that. So, down to code enforcement, I'd ask for you to approve the building and wiring permits that were sent out to you.
Abstain.
All right, we have a vote. I don't even remember. I was too busy looking at him. Bucklew and Young. Okay, I was too busy paying attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rigger will abstain.
Yeah. All right. We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Even with the abstention.
All right, where is this bid result in here? Our packet is quite large this evening. There it is. Okay. We have on the agenda to review and approve the bid opening results for yard reclamation. I know. Yard reclamation services. And I believe the winning bidder was Bobby Gompers with Highland Landscaping Service or LLC right here in Buckhannon. And it's at a rate of, reading Jay's handwriting, it looks to be $388 a square foot. Look right to you. That is the winning bid. Is there a motion to approve awarding that bid subject to all bid specs being fully reviewed with the apparent winner?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Sanders. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Sean. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign motion carries.
It was nice not to abstain.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd point out, just for review, some easier to read handwriting, you flip the page, looks like it was $3.
Is it $3 even?
Yeah, on the cover sheet of it.
Yeah, $3.
I was reading Jay's writing.
Yeah, that's a tough one, yeah.
We blame Jay. He gets the. It is $3 a square foot even. So my apologies. Okay, we have a couple of recommendations from the Consolidated Public Works Board. Up first, I'll be honest with you, and Randy can attest to this. I wasn't crazy about this recommendation when it came. I understand the need to replace our Main Street raised flower beds. I understand the trees are becoming compromised, and I understand that the root systems have kind of taken over. What I'm going to ask for council to consider tonight is that I'm not saying that we don't do this project, but I'm going to ask council to consider revisiting this project in the spring. We've got a lot of flood-related work to be done. We already have other projects in the community that quite frankly, are needing our attention more so than this right now. Again, I'm not saying that this doesn't need to be done. I know that there is a safety concern with it, but it also is more of an aesthetic project than anything at this point. I would ask for us to leave the planters and the trees alone for now and revisit this in the spring and focus on our efforts on the projects that we currently have in the works right now. Is that agreeable to members of City Council? I appreciate that.
Good idea.
I know I spoke to some of you about that following the Consolidated Public Works Board recommendation. And how this works is the Consolidated Public Works Board, which deals with streets and parks and a lot of the aesthetic beauty of our community, that board would receive a recommendation that a project like this would need to be done. And then that board's responsibility would be to recommend it either in favor of or against to City Council for City Council's final approval. And so Council has the final say. And so I think I heard you right, and I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion that we delay this project and revisit it in the spring, and we will report that back to the Consolidated Public Works Board that we've heard it, but we would like to postpone it for a while.
We'll consider it.
Well, yes, yeah. So is there a motion to reconsider this project in the spring?
So moved.
All right, I have a motion by Rob, a second by Pam. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like, sign opposed, motion carries. And then Consolidated Public Works Board also heard a recommendation to update cemetery rules and regulations. And Amby or Tom, do either of you want to weigh in on anything specifically with this? This is just cleaning up some language, I believe, and Tom has reviewed it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. The purpose of these changes are really just to clarify that who gets to make decisions with respect to plots, and that is just to clarify that the personal representative of the decedent's estate controls the disposition of the placement, and in the event of a closed estate, it would go to the heirs as defined in state law, and require that a majority of them agree in writing to any changes. If Andy has anything to add on that, I believe that I defer to her, but that's the scope of the changes that I make to those guidelines.
Yeah, no, the only thing I'll mention is why we did it is because so many cremations are allowed on one space, and it was getting pretty complex about people wanting to be buried on old graves, and we wanted to make that clear that they can't just do that.
Right. Yeah, we want to respect the plots that are currently over there and help guide it for the future. So, all right. Is there a motion and a second to accept the updated cemetery rules and regulations document? So, motion by everybody's really close to me. Jack, motion, and Randy second.
No, that was
Rob. I can't even tell the difference anymore. Jack and Rob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't know which one should be. Well, next time, separate yourself from motion and second. It's been.
We're twins. We're twins now.
That's it. My apologies to Rob.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take note of that.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like, sign, opposed, motion carries. All right. Mr. Gregory.
Yeah, where you been all evening? Hi.
Start by giving a brief summary to the council regarding the police department's response to the flooding emergency in July. During the initial event, duty officers responded to the flooding emergency by assisting the fire department and other first responders with rescues as well as evacuations, primarily focused on the North Buckhannon area that was evacuated, and helping to transport many of those individuals to the temporary shelter that was set up at the Nazarene Church. In the immediate aftermath, the next morning, while the water was still up, the police department immediately shifted to 12-hour shifts, where half of our staff was on at any given time. We remained on 12-hour shifts for the duration of the week. While the water was up most of that second day, officers focused primarily on traffic control as well as maintenance of barricades and road closures, trying to keep vehicles out of flooded areas. Chief Kimball mentioned that there were a number of water rescues from vehicles, 8 of which were in town. So once the waters receded, we towed all 8 of those vehicles that were disabled and remaining in the road. We had assistance with this endeavor from both our volunteers as well as our CERT members that assisted in primarily maintaining barricades and road closures. Once the water receded, again, we remained on 12-hour shifts for the duration of the week. We did have the assistance from a number of mutual aid partners that were assisting both the City of Buckhannon as well as Upshur County. Generally speaking, we had officers from as many as 23 counties from throughout the state of West Virginia. Obviously, local officers from both the state police, sheriff's office, state police as well. State police also sent troopers from the region to assist as well. We also received assistance from the Natural Resources Police that, again, assisted with police coverage and assistance to the community. And that's primarily where we shifted our focus. Again, once the water receded, we shifted into recovery mode, where officers were doing proactive patrols throughout the community. We not only patrolled the streets and neighborhoods, but we foot patrolled some of the more common areas that have had homeless populations, just checking on those folks and that condition. We additionally assisted with the operation of the Emergency Operations Center. Kim Smith, who is our administrative assistant, was relocated from the police department to the EOC, where he helped man phones and assist a very overwhelmed Steve Wyckoff during those initial few days. Erica Bennett also assisted beginning with the EOC that first day, and then once the donation center was open, she was shifted to help manage the donation center at West. I might say did a very remarkable job in helping to manage and coordinate all the vast amounts of donated supplies that came in and went out. Proactively, once the donation center was brought into operation, our officers also worked hand in hand with the donation center for one, security, and then additionally obtaining supplies, and proactively went out into the community, into the affected neighborhoods, and took many of the folks that could not get to the donation center themselves. Our officers loaded up materials and took out into the neighborhoods to make sure they had the needed supplies in their initial cleanup efforts. Once we moved past that first week, we transitioned back to our regular schedule, but continued to assist with recovery efforts. Primarily, and chief among those is an operation that is currently ongoing. That is the maintenance of security at the Disaster Recovery Office that's being operated in the Development Authority building on the second floor. We are coordinating the security response between ourselves, the Sheriff's Office, and now the State Police have partnered to assist with maintenance of an officer to serve in a security capacity during the entire operation of the Disaster Recovery Office. So we're there as long as they're open from 7 to 6, Monday through Saturday. We have an officer from one of our 3 agencies are there at all times. We have a coordinated schedule through August. We anticipate this to last into September. We do anticipate meeting again our 3 agencies next week to come up with a September schedule and just progress with that as we move forward. And that's where we're at with the currently with the flood response. I did talk to Steve Wyckoff today. We discussed this during the initial response, and that is the need for the after action review more formally, not only as each individual agency, but collectively across the board with our respective entities. He does anticipate having a meeting in the very near future, especially now that we're well into the response period. He at least wants to talk about the initial response and then the early parts of recovery. So we will certainly be participating in that with input from specifically the Buckhannon Police Department, and then generally as a public safety partner with all other first responding agencies that will take part of the emergency operation response. So more on that. We do anticipate that in the very near future, and more on that as it convenes. Moving beyond the flood response from the police department, just a couple of other quick updates. With school starting primarily with Wesleyan College moving back in this weekend, classes starting next week. We will conduct our annual tradition of meeting with RAs and their staff. We always invite them down to the training room at the public safety building to discuss public safety. We partner with the fire department to host, again, the RAs and their staffs from the college. We have a really good Q&A discussion, and most important aspect of that, we put faces with names, and we get to know each other, and they get to learn obviously the services that we provide. So we look forward to that. That takes place tomorrow at 11 a.m. At the public safety building. Immediately following that, we are partnering with John Bowman and security staff at the college to conduct tabletop exercises to test the college's security plan. This is something that the college has been doing a lot more so lately, and so to begin the school year, we'll have those discussions as part of this initial meet and greet with RAs and staff tomorrow. The last thing is, I mentioned this during the last report, just an update on where we stand with the body and dash camera upgrade project that the police department is currently undergoing. We have just recently received all of the equipment, conducted an inventory meeting with Motorola Solutions, and are now at the phase where we are transitioning installation. We do anticipate beginning in early September installation on the hardware at both the fixed site at the police department as well as in our fleet. We'll start rotating our fleet 3 vehicles at a time. The upfitter says they can do 3 a week, so we hope to have that project done throughout the month of September. Once that occurs, we will have trainers come from Motorola Solutions to conduct on-site trainings. I just set up my admin account for the system today, and again, once they are on site for training, we will engage that admin account and ready the system to be up and running. We anticipate by sometime in October. More on that as we progress. I'll give updated reports. Mayor, that's all I have.
Any questions for Chief Gregory?
How's your team doing after all of this? I mean, it's been a pretty grueling
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. So obviously that initial response with the hours that they put in, there was a lot of a lot of exhaustion, but where we transition back to our normal schedule, we've had officers start to take time off, not necessarily going away on vacation, but just to be off and recover. And so obviously everybody needs their time off, and we're starting to see more of that with our officers. So that certainly helps. So thank you.
Well, just, again, thank all of the members of your team for everything they put forward, during those times. It's a tremendous effort.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
City Attorney Tom O'Neill's report is next, and we do have a second and final reading of Ordinance 480 to consider this evening. Good evening, Mr. O'Neill.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. It's good to be with you tonight. I'll read ordinance number 480 by caption, if that's all right.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance number 480 of the City of Buckhannon, and ordinance amending prior ordinances of the City of Buckhannon by providing for the adoption of the West Virginia State Building Code, set forth and defined by Title 87, Series 4 of the Code of State Rules as amended. This is, as was said, the second of two readings. This is, as I think I mentioned at the last meeting where this was passed on first reading, this is really just a housekeeping ordinance. The state, as it does every couple of years, updates the building codes, and if we want to maintain our own building codes enforceability, we have to update our ordinance to reflect the current state of the state building codes. That's what this ordinance does. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Mr. O'Neill? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion that we approve ordinance number 480 relative to the state building code adoption. This is second and final reading. Motion?
So moved.
Hey, I know who did that one this time. John, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rob. Got 2 for 2. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right. Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
No problem. I can mention the other two items, even though there's really no action to be taken.
Sure.
Well, actually, I take that back. Actually, the council will take action on this next item. As was mentioned earlier, with the request for funding through the opioid settlement fund, we decided, I was asked to prepare some guidelines for organizations that are going to be seeking those funds going into the future, just to create some written standard that can be compared against on applications. This does that. Given the relatively small size of our fund and the fact that we will be receiving more money into that fund in coming years, but we have spent, I believe, the clear majority of the funds that we will ultimately receive. We didn't need to be too complicated with this, but we do require that a written proposal be submitted and make other requirements in our minimum requirements in these guidelines. For instance, the applicant organization has to be a 501c3 nonprofit that has received an IRS determination letter. They have to be registered with the System for Award Management, or the SAM system, be in good standing, and certainly apply the money in ways that are consistent with the published purposes that the state has promulgated through the Attorney General's office and the West Virginia First Foundation. So, if you have any questions about these, I'd be happy to entertain them. But this is, like I said, this just introduces some basic, standards and guidelines that we want to ensure that funded organizations meet. And that would include actually agreeing to a site visit if necessary, or if requested, and so on.
Most of this was already being considered, when we received other requests from West Virginia Wesleyan College as well as from Community Care of West Virginia. So this just puts it really into a document form.
Formalizes it, memorializes it, that's right.
That's correct, yep. Are there any questions for Mr. O'Neill? And I will say too that we did look at several other cities, Charleston, Huntington, Martinsburg. I think were examples, maybe Wheeling, as to what they use, and we kind of took from, what the best of those communities and built this. So, and again, most of it was already being used before. So, I entertain a motion.
While keeping it appropriate for an organization of our kind of size and capacity, we didn't want to make people have to jump through too many hoops, but we needed to make sure that we were meeting minimum standards.
Sure. I entertain a motion that we approve our City of Buckhannon opioid settlement funding guidelines as presented to you. Motion by Rob, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. You want to go over with us real quick, line item 3?
Sure. This is really just for the council's information. We had received a request from our attorneys in the opioid settlement litigation, the Fitzsimmons Law Firm out of Wheeling and Rusty Webb out of Charleston. The current round of litigation that's going on in the greater kind of opioid lawsuit universe is against the pharmacy benefit managers currently, Express Scripts for one in particular. As part of the PBM suit, the multi-jurisdictional, the court handling the multi-district litigation decided to have a couple of what they call bellwether jurisdictions actually try the claims. And I don't know how they came up with this, it wasn't clear to me, but they chose any of the parties that are located in Kanawha County and in Upshur County. So what that meant is that we were going to have to be in a position where we would actually have to go to trial on our claims against the pharmacy benefit managers. That is not really what we signed up for as far as kind of joining the claimant class here. That would impose a pretty significant burden on the city to participate in that litigation directly. So what our council has asked us to do, and after consulting with Mayor in particular, we've agreed to do with our council is to kind of waive our claims against the pharmacy benefit managers in favor of Upshur County, and we will kind of assist in the litigation. We'll respond to discovery and we'll be supportive, but we will not have to actually try the case ourselves. In exchange for that, if Upshur County will be trying their case against the pharmacy benefit managers, and we have an agreement in place with Upshur County to share their proceeds in that litigation. There's also an open question as to whether or not any recovery from that suit would be subject to the broader settlement agreement that the state has entered into, where any recovered money kind of goes into the greater pool for then distribution to all the class members. So from our perspective, this is really this was kind of a no-brainer of a decision, because either way it goes on that question, we're going to recover, we're going to participate in the recovery, but we are not going to have to participate in the burden of litigation. So that is what this is about, and we'll, like I said, we will participate and support the litigation that goes forward. I don't know if it's going to be a single proceeding with Kanawha County and Upshur County together, or whether they will be separate, but we will be in a support role for that, and it will help us avoid the expense and attention that would need to go into actually being the litigant in a case.
Okay.
So I'd be happy to, if there are any questions on this, I'd be happy to entertain them now or in an executive session.
Any questions for Mr. O'Neill? All right. Thank you, sir. Yes, as you noted, council will notice on the agenda, we do need to have a an executive session this evening relative to personnel and property matters. Very likely that we will not have any decision made tonight. This is for council's information, for the benefit of the media. All right, under new business, one of the most sought after agenda line items of the year is here. But first, trunk or treat. These are both to do with Halloween. Trunk or treat at the Public Safety Complex parking lot. We'd like to schedule that for the 26th of October from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And of course, this is in front of the police and fire department. We do this every year. Ask that you support having that event on that evening.
So moved.
Motion by Randy. Is there a second? Second by Rob. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. And getting out early this year, letting everyone know when trick or treat will be. October 31st, I believe, is a Saturday this year. So there's no reason why it cannot be on October 31st. So I'd like to set trick or treat within the city limits on the 31st of October. That will be from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Usually lines up just fine with the Upshur County schedule. So is there a motion and a second to set trick or treat within the city limits on the 31st?
So moved.
Motion by Rob, second by Sean. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Always a very hard-hitting line item. All right, we've made it, just about, almost. Council member comments and announcements will begin with Pam.
I want to thank Cadence for coming and making a report. That was great. It's nice to see a refreshing young face. I can tell that you're being very successful at what you're doing. And I want to talk to you about something too. So, I'm glad that we decided to give the $10,000 to the ladies for the vehicle. That's very much needed in this community. Also, I want to thank everybody involved in the recovery effort with the floods. I had no idea. I know it was bad, but until Joe's report, I did not realize how bad it was out there. I don't think the public really realized how bad it was out there when you heard those reports. I did try to come down to the safety complex. I couldn't get there. But I had to help my son recover, and then I did go take part in helping out with the disbursement down to college, and I could not imagine, I couldn't believe the amount of things that come in there to help people that was coming from all over. And there was this young man I talked to, and I thought, oh my God, he came through from Baltimore, and that boy worked 14 hours a day, I think. He worked constantly, and he was glad to be there to help him. I just want to thank everybody, and our mayor did a wonderful job. I can't imagine what was on his shoulders or how he even handled things. But him and Randy, I couldn't even get a hold of Randy, but between the two of them, they handled it. And as a community, everybody did wonderful coming together. I'm very proud of that team. So.
Thanks, Pam. We know you had your hands full with Joe, so it's never easy when you're directly affected.
Right.
So.
Right.
Jack?
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what Pam shared, and what she shared is truly accurate. Cadence, you did do a wonderful job, very professional presentation, so thank you very much. We have a good CVB. Yeah, I need to commend Robbie and Randy I feel for the excellent communication that they provided to the citizens of Buckhannon and to the citizens of the entire county. The daily briefs or updates were good. They were informative and I think very helpful to everyone. And of course, our city workers and all the volunteers and all the communities throughout the state that came and participated and played a part in the recovery efforts. I think it's just tremendous. And indeed, Mr. Mayor, we are VU strong.
Thank you, sir.
Another thing I want to say, this guy from the VIPS was down there working butt off down there, and I actually went up to him once, I said, you need to please sit down and rest, because I thought he was gonna have a heart attack. Sweating, deep red, and he worked really hard. But he never got it.
Beat up.
He does, yes, he did. I was very concerned about it.
Sean?
I have a lot to echo. Good report, Cadence. Thanks for that. And I was glad the council passed the donation to our house. And wanted to point out too that they just received a prestigious award and collected more funding through that. And I want to urge the Lewis County and Upshur County Commissions to please follow suit with what we did here tonight and make sure this gets carried on in the community. I was pretty sheltered from how bad the damage was as well. So I was in the hospital. My wife gave birth to our son, and really until service came back the next day, I had no idea how bad it was. And it was heavy just seeing how bad it was. So I can just imagine what you all went through, Chief and Chief Kimball, and everyone, all the volunteers, everyone that was affected. Also want to reiterate that our mayor proved very capable. The True Colors show in a disaster. He showed he cares a lot and is willing to work very hard. Randy, you did a great job with the communications the entire time. Heard so many comments about both of you. Kudos you did. And volunteering at Wesleyan was just crazy how much came, how many people came. So thank you to everyone from near and far that helped our town.
I'll never forget your son's birthday. I will never forget it.
Distant family say they'll remember his birthday.
I'll know that date forever. So.
And with that, St. Joseph's was incredible. The fact that a lot of them knew how bad it was going on. We had anesthesiologists walk up the hill. Councilman Randall helped get our pediatrician to the hospital for the C-section we had. Dr. Ferry. Everyone made it. There was nothing else going on, and then we found out really just how bad it was.
Thanks, Sean. Mr. Zuliani.
This is awful. Everyone said everything. I can copy everyone. But thank you, Cadence, for a great report. Looking forward to things in the future. Glad we could give you guys what you needed. And we talked about this at the last impromptu city council meeting we had. And obviously with the fire, the police, thank you, all the city workers, all the volunteers. But again, there's two people that whenever there's a crisis or whenever there's a situation, there's no guideline, there's no playbook for it. You know, Randy was fantastic, I thought, with trying to disseminate the information, get it out in a timely, organized manner. And every time my phone lit up, there was something being forwarded. It clarified something or changed something, you know, or put it to where it was. And thank you for that. And then I was busy with our own issues and business-wise and scrambling and never felt the need because of everything was being taken care of. And as a mayor, you get mailed from all different directions for even trying to do good things. I don't know if everyone really realizes what Robbie, Mr. Mayor, did. You really find out about what a person is like in a time of crisis. He would have worked 100 hours straight, I have no doubt, if he needed to, but he probably worked 99 hours straight. You know, a lot of other communities have gone through disasters, similar situations, floods or other disasters, whether it's a natural or not. And you see when there isn't good leadership what happens. It becomes another disaster. And I think the people in the community, as bad as it was, were at ease and somewhat calmed because the mayor was always in charge and knew what to do. And that's something that's rare because not everyone that's in a position of that power or management or government knows what to do. And there is no playbook for that, and how he knew what to do is fascinating. You either do it or you don't, and he did it. So we're very fortunate. And the crazy thing is I feel horrible for what happened to some of the people, the things they lost, that they have lost. but the city's already rebounding and everything's been on the rebound. It almost seems, we've already moved on, that what's been done, needed to be done, has already been done. And that's a testament that we're talking about it weeks later, but that if you drive through the city and look through the areas that were affected, there's still devastation, but it's on the way to recovery. So just thank you both, John, and it's a testament needed. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Sanders.
Well, let me begin with the report, part of my talking, reports of events, correspondence, and information. Reports the Governor Morrissey announced a $4.5 million in expedited federal disaster assistance for Lewis and Upshur County. That preceded the FEMA grant that President Trump eventually signed, opening up the FEMA resources to both of the areas, in fact, to several counties beyond Lewis and Upshur. City Council approved the waiver of building and wiring permit fees for flood-related repairs, and I just want to emphasize you still have to get your permits. And I think we hear a recurring theme. Things were built years ago before code, before you had any rules, so people put culverts under houses that you can't get to now, or culverts are too small because there was no code back then. You just kind of did the best you knew, and that's the reason we have codes. And that's the reason we have ordinances, so that, what one person does doesn't negatively affect their neighbor. So that's why it's important to pay attention. I know they're frustrating sometimes, but it's there for the benefit of the entire population, so that everybody enjoys the city that we live in. Point out the West Virginia Emergency Management Division damages report. We executed a memorandum of understanding for law enforcement security services at the disaster recovery location that Chief Gregory mentioned. We also had the June and July 26th report of cat and dog activity from the Upshur County Commission. FOIA request and fulfillment from Tasha Withrow, reason being opioid settlement funds. And we received a thank you from the West Virginia Wetland Society Workforce Development Scholarship. Colonial Arts Center upcoming events. Bluegrass Night featuring Bluegrass Preserves will be on August 29th, 2026, 8:30 p.m. Only a $5 ticket to head in there. Thank you for all of the wonderful comments from fellow council members. Mayor Skinner and I, did hit boots on the ground pretty fast. And, we sat down with the county commission, as I mentioned a couple of times. County Commission President Christy Tenney, Commission Member Sam Nolte, and Commission Member Doug Bush met with Robbie and I, and the Mayor and Christy, the President of the Commission, they hit the ground, and they checked on people, and they gave direction, and they helped make decisions, and they provided information back to the Office of Emergency Management where Cadence was the first week. I was hunkered down there with Commissioner Nolte, and we had decided early on to have one voice for Upshur County, one voice, instead of competing news releases going out, and that's where that came from. So every news release was vetted by myself, the mayor, the commissioners, Office of Emergency Management, and Cadence can attest to this. We would sit there and go through the different things and come up with the information that had to be disseminated and had to get out there, and we try to get it out as quickly as possible without overwhelming the system. At the same time, we merged our email list, we merged our social media, everything was done in a collaborative effort, and we still maintain that today. As Rob said, the town looks great, we look like it's coming back, but there's still a lot to do. And I want to really encourage people who have not visited the Disaster Relief Center at the UCDA building on Main Street to do that. There's misconceptions out there. Oh, I don't want to deal with FEMA. I don't want to have to go by these regulations and so on. Well, find out before you make that decision. You may make that decision after you go in and you meet with the representatives and you plead your case and you tell them what happened in your situation, and they tell you what they can do to help, and they give you the forms, and you read everything about what it means to receive funding from FEMA, and make that decision then after you've done that. If you decide you don't want to participate, again, that's your decision to make. But you may lose out on some significant funding there and significant help. I read a report the other day, the average payout by FEMA per person and family that has gone there is over $11,000 is the average, and that was several days ago. So, I'm sure that that's changed. Visit the SBA if you have a reason to do so, as far as a low-interest loan. Those are resources. We met with some of the national representatives from FEMA, and they said, look, we've been instructed to disseminate money. That's what we're here for. And this fallacy that, well, my neighbor has it worse than me, so I don't want to take the money so they can get more money. They're not going to run out of money. they're going to be able to cover everyone who has a valid claim. Also, I want to mention the agencies that are assisting, and they do this year-round, before the flood, after the flood, and that's Mountain Cap, and that's the Parish House, and that's Feed My Sheep, and that's Band of Brothers. I don't want to miss anyone. I'm sure I'm going to miss some people, but there's other organizations. And I'm very proud to be a member of Rotary Club Buckhannon Upshur. And we have a foundation targeted for flood relief that the funds are now up to $120,000. And we're launching the application process, and the board has asked the committee, made up of members from the city and members of the county, with just one Rotary member, to concentrate on those families and individuals who got hurt the worst, try to get them a little bit more than maybe $1,000 or $500, try to dig down a little bit deeper, and we're going to do that as long as we have funding. You can still contribute to that with the Rotary Online, and you'll be hearing more about that as we move forward now that we have the application created, and we're going to be getting the application out hopefully starting tomorrow for people to start applying online. You'll be able to apply or fill out a handwritten one if you're more comfortable with that, and mail it in. So there's still a lot of work to do. We want to try to help as many people as we can, through those organizations financially. And again, kudos to everybody, first responders. Mayor and I both are very, very proud of our team. And everyone we saw, up at the distribution center, the CBP director answering the phones at Office of Emergency Management. A couple of times I'd like to mention the Office of Emergency Management. She did a fantastic job. So again, kudos to everyone. Proud to be part of the team.
Thank you, sir. Well, Rob, you're right. Everybody has said everything. I certainly appreciate all of your all's kind words, but that's what you do when you're in these positions. I mean, it's when when it gets real. You got. I mean, I probably made 400 decisions between 8 o'clock Tuesday night, 21st, and the end of the day on Wednesday, with no cell phone service or internet. It was all blur. I mean, it really was. But we've made it. We've covered a lot of ground. We've learned things that we didn't know before that are going to help us in the future. But we've got one heck of a great team in this city and in this county and in our region. We appreciate our neighbors. I mean, Elkins has been fantastic. All the fire departments, police agencies that came from everywhere. Erica and the CERT team. If you were at the college, you saw what an incredible operation Upshur County CERT is. They worked so hard. Erica, Tammy, Elizabeth, all the volunteers. Westland, I don't know that we could have done this recovery without Westland. Really. Because our big convention center was blocked. We couldn't get to it. So having the college just say,
and the reason was because it was filled with National Guard members.
Yep.
That's the reason, and that's part of the agreement we have.
Yep.
Is if the National Guard is activated, they take over the entire building.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep. So I mean, we couldn't have done it without them. But it was truly the biggest all hands on deck event you can have. So, but you're right though. There's still a lot of work to be done, and I appreciate what you said about the Disaster Recovery Center. We really need people to go. That is really important. And checks are already hitting bank accounts. I've talked to the bank,
talk to Karen at First Community, talk to Citizens Bank, talk to People's Bank. They're already hitting checking accounts. So I mean, there isn't a lot of red tape with this. You apply, you qualify, you receive it, and it's just that simple. So there is assistance here, both federally and locally. So please watch for that stuff. But again, thank you to everybody. It was a lot, but and I do want the community to know we are serious. Okay, we're not going to just say, yeah, we got a few reports. We'll take it under advisement. It is. I said this in sanitary board this morning. It's no way to live to every time the forecast calls for rain to be glued to the daggone radar because it might happen again. I mean, it's just we've got to see what we can do, and I don't know what that looks like, but we're going to try to see what we can do to help mitigate some of this. I know the storms are getting worse. I know that climate change is upon us, but we've got to figure out a way to adapt to that. So I want the community to know that we are taking these. We wouldn't have had the test to spend all this time here, even before the event, if we weren't serious about trying to make our systems better and stronger. So with that, great job, everybody. Thank you for a good meeting. I know we have to stay here for an executive session. Again, there'll be likely no decisions made. So with that, at 9:41, I'd entertain a motion that we adjourn into an executive session following a brief recess to allow for the room to clear and Rodney to get all of his live streaming stuff together. All right, motion by Pam, is there a second? Second by Rob. All those in favor? Aye. Like sign opposed? Motion carries.